Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Fresh from the Trollbox, edition 13, the last one for this year. Hi, Stefan. How are you?
Hi, Ben. What a year. I'm fine. Frankly, you see it already. This is not the office or something else. So already started to rewind a little bit from this enormous year 2023, right?
Yeah, actually, we wanted to do a little bit of a recap of the year, right? So we've said we do a last year in review, and you're right. It's been a roller coaster, just like any other year in crypto. But at least this time, the roller coaster looks like it's ending higher than it started, which is nice. Should we go straight into it and maybe start with what happened at the beginning of the year? I think we're relatively bearish, right? Coming January, coming out of the FTX aftermath, it's been a bit of a bear market. Do you recall? Yeah.
Totally. I mean, we had discussions ongoing like, is Bitcoin here to stay? Will it go away? Crypto is dead, right? And not rightly so, but in a way, understandably, if you looked at what happened in 2023 with all the failures and then FTX at the end of the year. But if you look at it, frankly, the bull market, in a way, you could say already started pretty early because we started 2023 like around 16,000-ish for Bitcoin. And then in spring already, it started to rise. I mean, yeah, only now in winter time, we went back to full optimism in the market. But if you look already at the performance of Bitcoin in 2023, it's the first green candle, right? I mean, if you look at the
Yeah.
3-year cycles or 4-year cycles, often it's like one year down, 3 years up. That would mean we end the first year up, and 2024 hopefully will be the second year up for Bitcoin at least.
Violently, hopefully. Yeah. You touched on it, right? So beginning of the year, quiet, a bit of the aftermath, FTX, still people
Mhm.
not sure what platforms to use, etc. And I think on the BitMEX side, right, we felt a little bit of that. Maybe more on the positive side because we were seen as one of the very safe places. We didn't have a lot of outflows. We actually had inflows from large customers because I felt like we were one of the exchanges to be safe. And then comes March, and then comes Silverbank, then comes First, what was it? First Union Bank, I think, and then obviously very big Credit Suisse, right? Suddenly we find ourselves in the middle of a banking crisis, right? Do you want to share a little bit how we lived through this and what it meant for, I guess, US but also global economy in terms of money printer go brrr.
I mean, in the first weeks of those events, everyone was pretty muted, and it looked like something that is related to crypto. In the end, it became very clear that this wasn't related to crypto at all. I mean, why we related to crypto? Because we had Signature Bank, Silicon Valley Bank, and Silverbank, who were all who were all deep in the crypto ecosystem and serving companies in the crypto ecosystem. But actually, the reason was that the Fed started to hike interest rate or continued to rise interest rate, right? And with that one, they accumulated massive losses they couldn't cover anymore. So in the end, it was a TradFi, I mean, not a financial crisis, but a mini financial crisis because of monetary policy. And in a way, it showed that the crypto ecosystem is very, what is it, resilient even with the loss of those bigger players in the market to serve as at the intersection of TradFi and crypto. Um, Most of the projects survived, and it showed that crypto is here to stay, which for me was kind of with hindsight, not at that time. At that time, it was just dire straits. But if you look back with hindsight, for me, that was the moment when the bulls came back because they saw, no, this won't be stopped. Yes, of course, this whole crisis went further, even into Credit Suisse then later for the same reasons. Not related to crypto at all, but it meant that we had a flight to quality and alternative assets again, which was Bitcoin then in the end, which accumulated, and we talked about that in previous episodes already, to Bitcoin dominance, frankly, over all of 2023.
Yeah, true. Bitcoin dominance definitely back, right? Bitcoin kind of the escape of non-inflationary assets. And I guess that led to another major pickup on the institutional side, which we should double click on second or maybe the biggest topic in crypto this year, the ETF, Bitcoin spot ETF. Um,
Yeah, same thing here with hindsight. It's clear that everything started there. But at that time, if you really rewind and try to remember how things were, people were like, okay, what is this about? Are they really serious? No, they're not serious. Will it really move something? Maybe not. The SEC being basically, well, against it in a way, but they have been forced to clarify. And if you apply the rules, they need to clarify that having a Bitcoin spot ETF, physical, or I mean, or even if you go synthetic, is fully okay and in line with regulation. So in the end, and we see that we saw then the positive momentum picking up more in Q3, Q4. And we see it. We all believe that we will see the first grantings of the approvals for Bitcoin ETFs in January next year, which is in 2 weeks.
yeah, exactly. January 10th, I think, is currently the last date. They've delayed it 2 times now, but I guess there's only so many times they can delay it seriously. So fingers
And
crossed, we'll see
it
news there.
actually it's all paying into the whole storyline, right? I mean, starting with a little bit like this crisis. So we had the crypto crisis, the crypto winter, then we had a small banking crisis on top of that, where no one really knew, will it be a bigger thing, will it be a smaller thing? But crypto being very stable during that time, and then the inflows to the market, the clarification on the ETFs. And more clarification, right? We saw like around 40 jurisdictions around the globe clarifying their stance towards crypto. Not every crypto enthusiast likes everything, but it at least provides clarity and a basis for doing business. Secondly, I mean, not to forget Ripple and their win against the SEC. So it's not a security, which is more than just for Ripple. I mean, it's very good for Ripple, and congrats to them. But it made clear that a lot of the crypto assets that we have are in no way securities. And with that, it provides more clarity and more opportunities for us as an ecosystem and as an industry as such. And even in the US, I mean, with the clarification, but the FTX process, right? The procedures there. In a way, it's bad for crypto and the crypto exchanges in terms of credibility in a way, but at the same time, clearing and closing that in less than a year is really a showcase. And now everyone knows and has been reminded of, look at where you place your funds and who you deal with, and be your own bank, right? This is the slogan of crypto and Bitcoin in particular. I love that slogan, but it shows if you want to be your own bank, you need to know what you do. It's not a free ride, right? I mean, and this became clear with FTX. Everyone thought like, yeah, it's a free ride. And, it's not. Do your diligence, look at what people you deal with. It's important in crypto because you are your own bank.
Very true. Yeah. And I mean, FTX, you mentioned Ripple, Coinbase, obviously also had lawsuits against the SEC, quite frankly, this time the other way around, right? And then Binance, just about a month ago, was kind of settling charges with the US government. I think we can definitely say many of us as crypto investors, right? We start to put some money in, and we get more into the financial aspects, and we kind of ramp up on trading skills, and suddenly we find ourselves kind of ramping up on legal skills now too. So my journey as a crypto investor is really like I feel like a 360 journey, where I come in, first learn trading, and now I learn legal or law. God knows what I'll learn next, right?
Well,
We clearly had.
And now you are your own bank in the true
You're right.
sense of
Yeah.
the meaning, right?
Next is marketing and what comes, right? So it's definitely interesting the journey that we make through as crypto traders and investors, but certainly the legal aspects, and I guess crypto coming to law, crypto coming to court. It has been a big topic this year, and you say it right, in hindsight, overall positive, right? I think we fought the right demons, right? We cleared up the industry. We create more security. We create more certainty for future investors to come into the place. Yeah.
And what I want to, let's say, I want to close this topic of 2023 out in a way, right? With just mentioning it briefly. And even Binance was, I mean, not completely finalized, but more or less settled. We know the direction of travel. Binance agreeing to paying more than 4 billion in total in fines. CZ stepping down as a CEO. We will see what that means for the firm. but it's going into the same camp. But I don't want to close that out like, okay, this was the year of legal action, maybe, or potential, or probably it was, but it's not the most important thing. Two things are important here for me. Number one is, as you alluded to, if you look at the whole industry, it survived it pretty well and very stable because of the characteristics of crypto. If something like this would have happened in financial and TradFi, I mean, that would have been worse than the financial crisis. If you remember, great financial crisis, 2008, that was due to a couple of banks having mismatching liquidity profiles. That was it. And it made sure that basically the whole global economy crumbled for a couple of years. And we even still see some of the effects of that in our global economy. And the answer was pretty drastic. I mean, in crypto, I mean, it's a little bit like shrugging it off, right? I mean, bad stuff that happened in 2022 and 2023, not saying that this was great stuff, but actually 1.5 years and life goes on and everybody knows what his or her position is.
Very
Lehman took
fast paced. Very
exactly. I
fast paced.
mean, Lehman took more than 10 years just to figure out who gets what.
Very true. Yeah, very, very easy to identify in our
So it's
industry.
number
And
one. Yeah,
yeah,
it's number one. So actually, crypto, in a way, technologically delivered on what the promises were. It was, I mean, not always easy, but much easier if you really were. I mean, FTX for me is a slightly different case. I mean, they haven't been really on the chain, but let's do that in another discussion, right? Different stuff. And then the second one is, yeah, we had especially more 2022 this downside spiral, but 2023 already saw a lot of, we call it biddle markets, right? So a lot of stuff has been built, and now in Q4 we saw the effects of that. I mean, a lot of projects coming out, even Solana surpassing Ethereum in terms of new projects coming onto the chain. And this whole thing after Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin and then the rest, I mean, I wouldn't call Ethereum or Solana an altcoin, but you see a lot of activity that came back to the industry and new ideas, new stuff that's going on, which again, if you see what crisis there was, and then just 12 months later, having so much activity again, is for me a signal of strength to the whole market and ecosystem.
yeah, absolutely. I think and you said it right? Bitcoin is sort of the foundation. And once Bitcoin and the foundation hardened in the early time of the year, say March, April, we now see a lot of new houses building on top of it again. And Solana being a very impressive one with, I don't know, today, I 500x% up compared to the beginning of the year.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
so very, very strong Sol performance, but also all the projects that are on Sol, Bonk, etc. Very successful and very interesting to look into. And you're right, completely independent actually of the legal cases too, right? I mean, this happened just because of people having more confidence into the tech in the industry, not because of what decisions were made in a law in a court. I think we've covered sort of the legal aspects of the year. We've covered a little bit sort of the Bitcoin aspects and the new chains on it. There was one more thing this year that was quite special, and that is I guess the resurrection of meme coins. Right? In 2021, we had Doge being kind of the one and only. Now we have so many new meme coins. Where do you see that coming from, and where do you see that going to? Is that basically coming because of all the new networks? Is it because of the SEC's decision of what is a security and what not? Is it just because this is Instagram 2023 society? Where do you see that?
I mean, you for me, really personally, it's all of what you have said. Plus, it's a showcase that people want to use crypto, the technology, right? And it is kind of a piece of art. In the very, I mean, not early days, but a couple of years ago, I had a discussion. I even saw some articles out there, more from not crypto natives, but they said, hey, there, I mean, let's say, I think it's 3, 4 use cases, and then there's something else. And I repeat that constantly. It's transfer store of value and transaction capturing, which is pure case Bitcoin. You have smart contracts, aka coordination of distributed computing power, identity, not really solved yet. I mean, I said that before. I still look at WorldCoin and look at their
You're a
performance.
WorldCoin fan. Yeah.
Amazing. Right. Let's see. And it's the governance aspect of then in the end being able to have decentralized autonomous organizations. And then there is a fifth use case in a way, which is expressing your individuality. Right, everyone is an individual, and what all the meme coins do, what even NFTs to a larger extent do, is they enable people to express their individuality and how they think, how they feel. And this is why people who look at the world more in a way of excluding people, of being very like rules based, right? Everything has to have a certain way of doing things. I would say in like a military style, and it's not bad. It's just another way of looking at the world. They don't understand meme coins. They don't understand all of this and this NFT stuff, right? But if you look at it as people are able to express their individuality and what they feel, what they like, what they dislike, and do that even in a very fast pace. And then in the end, even being able to, I mean, I wouldn't call that a business, but being able to attach ownership rights to that and distribute that to a broader set of people, that's cool. I mean, again, it's not a security. It's not, I mean, if you invest in it, you can do it, but it's a little bit like if you look at graffiti in the 80s, people thought of it of just being garbage and even destroying buildings, right? Nowadays, it's an established part of the art community.
Urban art, yeah.
You look at it and you even visit cities who have graffitis on, I mean, voluntarily on their buildings, right? In the 80s, you're like, no, I'm not going there. I don't like it. Now it's like very established. And for me, NFTs, mem coins, it's not like graffiti, but if you want to have an analogy, for me, it's the same. It's really that being individual and being able to share that with a global community, right? Not just with your neighborhood, but with a global community. And for me, this is like, it's there to stay. It will come back. It will be in cycles. It's not like that it will stay there and it's just a straight line growth. It's like going up and down depending on who comes into crypto, who goes out of crypto, how do we use it? It has, of course, kind of competitive effects. Like if you look at Bitcoin network and the transaction fees, I mean, with all the ordinals
For
going,
ordinals,
transaction fees for the actual Bitcoin transactions went up dramatically. But hey, that's part of the game. In a way, I like to look at that. I'm not personally, I'm not very engaged with it in terms of buying and selling all of that stuff, but I love watching it. So it's a little bit like watching TV. And people who produce TV shows, I mean, we like them, right?
absolutely. And I mean, ordinals in particular, right? Maybe the first time NFTs have done a really secure job, right? And an ordinal in terms of its certainty is very different to many of the NFTs. And it helps my Bitcoin price because it creates more transactions on the chain, which is all I want for more energy to be put into to mine new coins, which makes my existing coins more valuable. So I can't have a lot against it, even though I may question if Bitcoin chain is the right chain to distribute art. But as you say, right, people question whether buildings are the right place to distribute art. And today we visit and travel to places that have it on the building. So fair
Look
enough.
at Banksy.
Absolutely. Yeah. Shout out to him. Nice. Alrighty.
I,
And I
it's more
guess
or less the year, right? But I need this time I need to finish with a little bit of marketing block for ourselves, right? I mean,
I
everything
was
we've
just
said
wondering, do
is
you want to share a little bit what we've
yeah,
done at BitMEX? Because I think it's been probably one of the most changing years for BitMEX, to be honest. So if we look at what we've done this year, we've really, really worked hard at making BitMEX better than ever before, I would say. But I'm very keen to hear your kind of list of things that you want to share, what we've changed. Yeah.
probably I forget about half of what the team did, right? And kudos to everyone in the team who did that. It wasn't me in particular, but if you look at where we came from and where we ended the year, it's quite fantastic. So we listed 70 plus new tokens. We established pre-IEO markets on BitMEX. Meaning you can trade the exposure of coins even before they are physically listed and available. Yeah, it comes at a price. You need to know how to do that, but it's pretty cool if you know how to do it. We improved our UI, so our user interface, a lot. I mean, with some pro features sorry, multi-chart,
Multi-charting. Yeah.
news integration, news feed integration, cleanup of the UI, UX in particular, but even fun things like we have new custom schemes like a new
P&L.
P&L skin and a Barbie skin, right? I mean, which is more for the fun part of it. But you see, it's like the memcoin thing. I mean, you don't need it, but it's nice to have and it's quite fun to watch. So we implemented guilds and weekly trading competitions. On guilds, we have distributed more than 100,000 US dollar equivalent in prizes already, and we saw a tremendous pickup in that social aspect of trading. We have now gone from our once a day a Bitcoin withdrawal to basically in certain ranges like a more real time Bitcoin withdrawal process. We have twice a week proof of reserves and proof of liabilities implemented this year. I mean, what do I forget? Okay, we had prediction markets as a new market coming in. We implemented P&L offset, or basically instant P&L realization, which enables you as a trader to withdraw your funds even with your realized or so far unrealized P&L, which is a great thing for good traders and who trade on multiple venues. We have improved latency quite substantially and the throughput of the system. So we readied ourselves for 2024. I mean, we didn't do that because we needed, but we felt maybe 2024 is the market to come. And if we see higher volumes, we want to make sure that we have a stable platform and that we are true to our BitMEX core values of safety and security for our user assets. And frankly, with all of that, we didn't expect that, but we welcomed back a couple of thousands of new traders, basically.
Yeah.
And we accelerated on that in the second half of this year. I mean, first half was still pretty muted, but with what we discussed about the markets, sentiment coming back, people came back to BitMEX with delivering more and more functionalities. People came back to BitMEX. We saw spiking trading volumes. So I'm very optimistic for 2024, and I hope we continue on this path.
I agree with you. Yeah, I think we've set the exchange up for what is probably going to be the biggest bull market that we'll all live through. Fingers crossed, but by all accounts, it looks like this. And yeah, we're ready. Our systems are prepped. Our onboarding flows are prepped. Our platform is prepped. Our markets are prepped. As you said, more than 100 markets now, which is really new to BitMEX. One thing that you missed, but I think especially everybody that used to trade on FTX appreciates is sub accounts has now been launched on BitMEX.
Right.
So we've really improved the trader experience. And I think while we all felt that FTX was a very interesting platform, we've worked very hard at BitMEX to bring some of the coolest features from there to our platform. With keeping the same safety and reliability that BitMEX had since 2014, obviously, right? And that hopefully makes us stand out in 2024 and onwards. So that's
let's close in a way our discussion with one thing, because it just came to my mind. Often forgotten, because for us it's a no-brainer. We have the second largest liquidity pool for Bitcoin margin contracts. So I mean, we are Bitcoiners. In the end, we are crypto natives, and this is what is shared by our community. Often forgotten because the world looks at stablecoin margin contracts. I mean, but if you look at Bitcoin, and especially in the bull run and with Bitcoin dominance, that's something you might want to see. We are still number two. I mean, I hope to become number one again at some point in time. And if you then see another thing which is related to safety and security, we have one of the biggest open interest.
Insurance funds.
It means we really have a price discovery function and not just some volumes that come out of nowhere. I mean, no criticism here, but it's people have open positions with BitMEX because they trust the platform. Let's call it like this. It's more this thing. They don't close the positions every evening and then withdraw the funds. They are happy with having large positions on Bitcoin on BitMEX, mostly in Bitcoin margin then. And this is what we're working on, right? I mean, this is where 2024 will be our year in a way.
Very true. Yeah, BitMEX stays the platform that you can open and close a trade with big liquidity and great liquidity. Yeah, that's true.
And good protection.
All right.
I mean, often said differently, but if you look at the numbers with our insurance fund, I mean, we have more than 3 times open interest, which is if you look
Never
at it on
disappointed.
terms, the biggest insurance fund that we are happy to contribute to this industry.
Certainly, yeah. All right, Stefan, that's a wrap. I have to ask you the question of what are you waiting for in 2024? And I guess I have an idea that the three famous letters will be part of it, E, T, and F. But what else? What else are we looking forward to in 2024?
I'm personally looking forward to more adoption of Bitcoin by people who are not in Bitcoin or crypto or other coins as well yet. Because what we've seen is that the bull run of the last couple of months was basically spurred from within the industry, not so much by new adoption. Number two, ETF, of course, because that will bring some of those into the market.
Yeah.
And number three, for me, I'm looking forward to new projects basically on the Solana and Ethereum networks that might go further than what they do right now, especially on governance. So I'm a big DAO fan. We haven't seen real DAOs working yet. Frankly, I mean, I don't want to, it's no criticism. Some of them work very well, but in a very narrow sense of the meaning, I would love to see something that is more company-like on a DAO and blockchain infrastructure.
Fair enough. With that, I'll close it, but I give a little prediction.
We need to throw the dice for 2024.
It says hodl.
Yeah,
Which is, I guess, a good start.
Yes.
Let me throw it again and hope it comes up with the 100x. But no.
But hodl is never it's never a wrong decision. Never.
For the Christmas period, certainly everybody take some good rest, hodl, and we'll keep growing in the new year, I think.
Exactly. Hey, Uzi, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And to all of you, see you next year.